Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about something different. Let's talk about Kevin Campbell opening up about the importance of Gabriel Magalhaes. But more importantly, they also opened up about, he also said that what he thinks about Ben White. But of course, there are more opinions about Ben White. William Galas opens up recently about the Arsenal team. And of course, Ray Parlour has a word about Yves Bisuma. And of course, we're going to talk about two swap deals in this episode. So stay tuned and watch the video till the end. The first thing is that about Gabriel. So Kevin Campbell says a lot of people had a dig at Ben White, but I thought he did all right versus Burnley. Yet the back pass, yes, the back pass was short, but that can happen. Gabriel is the main man back there, though. Everyone can see that. He's the main defender Arsenal need. He makes everybody else better. He has that aggression and toughness about him. He has that mentality of I'm going to dominate my opponent. It's important to remember that he's only still young. Other players have improved since he has come back. But more importantly, let's talk about Mika Berat. Well, it looks like, yes, he has been included in Denmark's under-19 squad for next month's Euro under-19 qualifiers. Congratulations, Mika, because of some fantastic performances. Well, he has been outstanding. Let's talk about Alex Lacazette. After the game, said that all the players needed some minutes because obviously we don't have as many games this season. So when we have a game like this, we just want to perform well and enjoy it on the pitch together. And talking about more stuff, well, Arsenal want to take advantage of Sevilla's reported interest in Alex Lacazette for a swap deal with Youssef En-Nesyri. That's according to La Razón, who says Spanish side could make a move in January to get ahead of interested parties such as Atletico Madrid, AC Milan and Juventus. Well, let's see. La Razón covered the situation today and say that the Spanish side could make a move in January in order to get ahead of the competition. They're set to lose En-Nesyri and Mounier for the Africa Cup of Nations in January, so they will be forced to add a new striker in that window. Lacazette would fit the bill and presumably be available on the cheap, given his contract with Arsenal is expiring and they will want to avoid losing him on a free. So that's what it can happen. That, of course, Africa, the AFCON is definitely the bigger deal. Moving on, out of the 116 players that have contested at least 10 aerial duels in the Premier League this season, no one has a better success rate than Takehiro Tomori. According to WhoScored.com, he has 90.9% success rate, and that is the difference. Well, we all love difference makers. Those are the ones. Difference makers are definitely always history makers as well. But let's talk about Kieran Tierney for now, because Paul Merson has accused him of trying to do everything. God damn it. And he's not wrong. Of course he's not wrong. So what did he actually have to say? He spoke to 90 minutes. He says, I like Tierney. The problem is that he's becoming a bit of a school captain. He's trying to do everything. Instead of doing his job, like stopping crosses, he's trying to do everything. So he's caught in between. Stop the cross or get back into a position. And yeah, that's not the only thing, because the former Arsenal maestro still backed the Scottish international ahead of Sergio Reguilon. He says, I like Reguilon, but I have got to go for Tierney. He's one of the main players for Arsenal, and if he can't get it in, if he can't get in the team, then I am struggling. So let's see what happens in the North London derby. Most of the pundits are now backing Arsenal after the two back-to-back victories, and most importantly, Spurs dropping points in the last two games, literally all of it. So let's talk about Jack Wilshere. Well, Jack Wilshere sends a big transfer message. What Jack Wilshere wants to say. He says, I think it's a perception, and I've had this opinion from a few clubs. Great player, but an injury waiting to happen. I haven't been injured since before lockdown, and it was not a serious injury. I've trained every day. When I was at Bournemouth, I was available for every single game. So I feel like it's a lazy answer because I can. Give me a chance. Let me prove myself to you, then show you that I am fit. It's frustrating, and it sorts of breaks your spirit as well, because you know, especially when you're training on your own and every day, you're like, there's not much you can do on your own, and you have to run, and it's hard, and it's boring. And then to get that answer, it's like, well, why am I doing this? Why am I breaking myself every day, waiting for that opportunity to come, and when I'm just getting answers like that? Well, of course, one of those frustrating moments in Jack Wilshere's career is he not giving him a chance, is how I would respectably put it as well. But he also opened up about his admiration for an Arsenal midfielder and a Chelsea legend. as well. So John Terry, and it says Fabregas. He says, for England, I always remember John Terry. He was the captain. He's just one of those characters who welcomes you in. He talks to you. He listens to you. For Arsenal, probably Fabregas. He was only young, but he'd been in the team. He'd been in the team for years. He was captain. I know I always had respect for him because when I was 13, he was in the team and he was 16. I always looked up to him and wanted to follow in his footsteps, really. And then when I did, he was really good. He talked to you, and because he's a similar player to me as well, I saw him play next to me and he helped me as a player. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, Jack Wilshere opened up about the whole two important players that really brought the best of him. Let's talk about. Do you remember this guy? Do you remember this guy? This guy, Danny Ceballos did not have a very good last season at Arsenal. So yes, it looks like an ankle injury has not helped his cause. But Ceballos is fit enough to return, and it's hard to imagine displacing Modric, Valverde, or Kroos. But according to Defensa Central, Madrid have already agreed a deal that would see Ceballos reunite with Bellerin at his former club in the January transfer window. The 25-year-old is expected to rejoin Betis on an initial loan deal complete with a mandatory obligation to buy clause in the region of 20 million pounds. So Real Madrid get him off their chest, and officially Dani Ceballos will be a Real Betis player. But here's what he's really wanting to play for Betis. He says, I want to go back and meet the fans. Someday I will return and return the love we've had. Betis is different from any club in the world, I swear to God. These football players say these kind of words every single time when they're about to move to a club, and I just can't. It's so cringy now. I just don't want to react to it anymore. But moving on, Ray Parlour has admitted that he would love to see Yves Bisuma swap Brighton and Hove Albion for his beloved Arsenal. Speaking to TalkSport, he says, can he tackle? Yes, he can. Can he control the tempo of a game from the center of the park? Most certainly. Can he turn defense into attack in the blink of an eye? With one of those trademark slaloming runs from deep, that's Bisuma. If Arsenal are craving a belligerent, ball-carrying, box-to-box enforcer, one who combines Thomas Partey's tackling capabilities with the slaloming stride of a Patrick Vieira, look no further. So he says, I would love to see Bisuma at Arsenal. I said that in the transfer window. I think Bisuma has got everything. He's efficient. He can put his foot on the ball. He can put his foot in as well. He can pass. He probably could score a few more goals, but he's not in that position to score goals. He's the one who's going to keep everything ticking over. I'm sure Brighton had to sell one of their players, and it was Ben White in the end for 50 million pounds. But I think Bisuma is going to be a top star. He's only 24, so there's a lot of time as well. So let's see whether Bisuma is being sold off in the upcoming windows. Of course, at one point of time, you would expect him to be sold off. He's not Kalidou Koulibaly, who is being definitely overvalued and had to just retire at the club maybe. But let's see. He's scoring goals this season. I'm talking about Koulibaly. But let's talk about a bigger swap deal, of course. Already mentioned it for literally twice. But hey, here's another team talk have said that Tottenham are their plans in tatters because Arsenal are offering Granit Xhaka to Juventus, and that could get them the one, the only Weston McKennie. I forgot his name. Okay, Weston McKennie. Well, let's talk about Allegri has reportedly told McKennie to find himself a new club as soon as possible, according to this report. That has alerted both Tottenham and Aston Villa, who could reportedly look to strike a deal, a 15 million deal for the 23-year-old. But for Arsenal, it could be a simple swap deal in January. But will that be happening or not? Well, only time will tell. But let's talk about William Galas. He's really not happy about what's happening at Arsenal, I guess. So Galas is concerned over Ben White's inexperience at the top level. Well, that's what William Galas believes. He says he actually spoke to Gentingbet. He says, it's difficult for me to understand why Arsenal spent 50 million pounds on a player who is yet to prove himself at the top level. At the same time, Manchester United can spend around 40 million pounds on Varane. You have to explain to me how it's possible. Perhaps it's partly because Ben White is English. Varane is a different class player compared to Ben White. Ben White is still young. As I said, he hasn't proved anything yet. How can you put a 50 million pound price on him, I respect him. I don't know him. I respect him, and I hope he will be a great player. But he hasn't proved anything yet. You can't compare Ben White and Varane. I'm sorry, it's not possible. It's not because he's a fellow Frenchman and that I'm talking like this. He comes from Real Madrid. He didn't come from Brighton, with all respect for them. You know what? We're talking about this whole, with all due respect, I'm going to tell you one thing. I think Rafa Varane would join Manchester United not because of they were paying him a good amount of salary. Even Arsenal could have paid him a lot of good salary. But you know what? He wanted Champions League football. Probably that's the main reason why Varane was attracted towards Manchester United. And that was the reason. I'm pretty much sure that was the reason. And he wanted to come to the Premier League. Arsenal's profile of getting new players is something different. You got to understand. If you don't understand, and if you judge the player within what 5 games or 6 games into the season, into the Premier League season, I'm sorry to say. I mean, I don't know. I don't get it. All right. So with this, I'd like to end this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you seek daily Arsenal content, you know where to be.